a single video on TikTok of a guy drinking ocean spray juice, riding a skateboard, listening to Fleetwood Mac, sold out every single bottle of ocean spray in America. I would call that effective. I day trade attention and build businesses. Legacy is greater than currency. I'm a purebred entrepreneur for real, for real, for real. Like, documented. The video we put on LinkedIn is very different than the picture or video we put on Twitter. That's different than the one we put on Pinterest. The creative is contextual to the distribution, but also contextual to the psychology of the consumer within the distribution. What I mean by that is, Diana is herself, but her actual mindset when she's going through her feed on LinkedIn versus when she's doing that on TikTok is a slightly different version of herself, thus rendering the creative needing to be contextual. By the way they did in the 50s and 60s, it was called radio ads, it was called print ads. They were doing it daily, they were looking at what was working, and then they ran TV ads. We're doing what everyone's always done. We're just making pretend we live in today. Do that. Remember when I created 21% off? That 1% was like a whole to-do. So the wine business in New Jersey, the way it worked was if you bought wine, it was the price, but if you bought 12 bottles, if it wasn't on sale, you would get, well, first it was 10%. Then before my time, it kind of went to 15. And you could mix and match if it's not on sale. Some people made you have to only buy things that weren't on sale. We took it a little further and said, you could buy 9 bottles that are on sale and 3 bottles that aren't, and that's 12, and those 3 bottles will get 15% off. Then what that evolved into is the occasional coupon that would come in the mail that would take it to 20% off. That was the system for a while. So one day, like very early in my career, I'm like, you know what? I'm taking 21% off the case. Because it was like, at this point, very established amongst us and our core competitors in the general New Jersey area. When I tell you, like, everyone got so emotional, like we felt a huge influx. Let's walk.
What's going on, Yahoo Finance fam? Now, you already know me. You know I don't do boats, I don't do cruises. However, I'll do a yacht, especially if we get the invite from GaryVee. What is one of the themes that's sticking out to you?
Today's marketing world is being great at creative in social media. Social media is building brands. Yet there's no talk of social media creative here. There's talk about television commercials that nobody watches, and there's talk about AI that's not fully here yet. To sum it up, there's a really interesting thing happening here, which is the big opportunities for entrepreneurs and small businesses and private equity owned brands is the biggest brands in the world are missing the mark, and in that is the opportunity and the arbitrage for the competitors. See you in person. Well. Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming. We're excited. We're gonna kind of do a little bit of a half panel, half podcast session here.
I hate commercials on TV. I swear to God, I'm lame and my wife is a witness and I don't let her have the remote control because she's not quick enough. There's a minute in the bottom says skip, I press it so hard, I hope it's never going to come back.
Thank you, Dad, for that statement. I want to make sure I just rewind what my dad just said. When I watch television at night from 11 to 12, I hate commercials. The next thing he said is, when it goes to the commercial, as soon as in the bottom right, it hits skip, I hit the button and skip it. My dad is watching YouTube for the last couple of years, and he just referred to YouTube, not television.
You're right.
This goes back to what I said earlier of everybody saying social is so young, and yeah, for the kids it's good, Gary, but I'm trying to sell to 69-year-old men. This is what I think people don't understand is actually happening. This isn't about 14 and 15 and 22-year-olds. The world is transitioning into consumption. The future of television is here. Everyone's like, Gary, it's coming. You're right, it's coming. It's not coming. People watch YouTube and Hulu and Netflix and connected TV and on and on and on. I don't know what people are thinking. And to Frank's point, live sports for sure. But what happens when ESPN becomes its own OTT? Like, it's happening. Have a great can, everybody. My dad, he watches crazy shit, like World War II, like Nazi invasions. He just watches, and because TV can't give you that. Every kid watches YouTube over TV because it's better. His generation, they didn't know. Now that it's on the remote, they know. It's over. It's a wrap.
How you doing, man?
My man, sit down for a second. I heard some great stuff. I don't know how to tell you this other than I can't believe what I'm about to say is true. In Paris, not a hotel room, but like somebody rented an apartment for the week in Paris. Gary Camp, who was the founder of something called Stumble Upon, I don't know if you guys remember that, said, hey, I'm working on something. Could you imagine if you could take your phone and hit a button and a limousine would pick you up on the spot? And that was how Uber was invented, and I was actually literally in the room. There's an article written about it with me in it, that Gary Vaynerchuk, and that's what you get out of stuff like, Gianni, get in here. How about marketers that are in the game? What do they need to do to actually start to elevate their career and to like actually move up the ranks, which you've successfully done?
They need to understand what they don't know. I know we sometimes say we don't know what we don't know. And so, for example, when I went to Netflix, I thought I knew what I was doing in 2012. I was like, I've been marketing TV and film for 20 years. Yeah. And I get there and I'm like, oh shit, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then I just, instead of running away, I grabbed every engineer and said, explain this to me.
The humility to ask a question.
Humility to say, I don't know what I'm doing. And then just keep putting yourself in those jobs.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gary. Always a pleasure.
You have so much time. Dude, I worked in a liquor store until I was 34 years old. If I could just get you to not judge yourself, compare yourself, and give yourself kindness and patience, why real estate? Because you think you can make the most money, or do you fucking love it? And when you're done with university, those first 2-3 years, whether it's proper football, or F1, or wine, or sneaker, I don't know you, but whatever fucking you really love, that's where you gotta go first. Because if it's a disaster, after 2 years, you'll be 24, you'll still be a fucking child. Fuck long way, short way. The happy way or the unhappy way. Of course your mom wants you to be stable and be in a good relationship. Of course she loves you, but she doesn't want you to be unhappy.